Breaking news today. War costs more than expected, Israel's central bank governor says. The war with Hamas is causing a major shock to the Israeli economy, according to the governor of the country's central bank, and is costing more than was expected. There is no doubt the war will have fiscal implications and generate budget pressures, Amir Yaron said Thursday in Washington, despite Israel's robust and stable economy. It is expected that Israel's GDP growth will slow by 1% in both 2023 and 2024, according to Yaron, and that the debt-to-GDP ratio is likely to rise to somewhat more than 65% by the end of 2024, as costs are larger than it was initially projected. According to his calculations, Israel and Hamas will fight along their southern border until the end of the year. After Iranian-backed militants stormed southern Israeli communities on October 7 and killed about 1,400 people, Israel began conducting airstrikes against Hamas's Gaza territory. Since then, it has launched a ground offensive against Hamas, a terrorist group blacklisted by the United States and the European Union. According to the Hamas-controlled health ministry, over 10,000 people in Gaza have been killed so far in the conflict. Yaron emphasized that Israel entered the war on solid fiscal footing, with the debt-to-GDP ratio below 60%. The IMF predicted that by 2025, it would have dropped to around 55%. Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich announced late Thursday that the country's budget for this fiscal year would increase by 35 billion shekels, or $9 billion. He said that 63% of the budget increase would go toward the military. At an International Monetary Fund conference, Yaron participated in a panel discussion alongside Harvard economist Kenneth Rogoff and U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Since the conflict with Hamas began a little over a month ago, the Israeli central bank has lowered its economic projections. The bank revised its GDP growth forecast for 2023 and 2024 from 3% to 2.3% and 2.8%, respectively, at its last rate meeting on October 23. Constant shekel. In addition, the Bank of Israel decided not to lower its key interest rate from 4.75%, keeping the shekel relatively stable. As with Israeli stocks and bonds, the shekel took a major hit when the conflict broke out, but it has since made a full recovery. Traders are more optimistic that the war will be contained to Gaza, and this is due in part to the central bank's backing. The bank sold over $8 billion of reserves in October. According to Yaron, the BOI's actions so far have helped stabilize financial markets and reduce shekel price swings. This array of policy steps that were taken by the bank in the last month reveals the sufficient and necessary independence that the bank enjoys and that it has the adequate set of monetary tools that can ensure financial stability, Yaron said. The seventh paragraph has been revised to include the finance minister's new remarks. We disable comments on articles after they've been up for 3 days to ensure the best possible user experience.